As someone who's played a lot of Sombra, I know it says Junkrat's my most played DPS, but honestly I haven't played him since the original Overwatch. I was skeptical to see what these changes would be like. But after playing her for a few matches, I can say for sure that she feels 100 times better now than she did in the past seasons. These changes make her a lot more fun to play and make it so you have to plan your attacks, rather than trust that your translocator will be there for you to fall back on. I'm going to get more into that in a minute, but first I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. I want to preface this video and say that it's not a guide, it's just my general opinion on the Sombra changes. With the removal of her dealing extra damage when she attacks hacked enemies, and her translocator no longer being a deployable thing, we got a lot of new stuff. First, her gun's damage has been increased from 7.5 to 8, and has a faster reload time, and time till it reaches maximum spread. Meaning that for the first 6 shots, she basically fires a point-accurate laser, which makes it much easier to get kills, especially if you're hitting all of your crit. That has been changed slightly. Like I mentioned before, Opportunist, the thing that made her do more damage to a hacked enemy, has been removed, but the amount of time that it takes to hack an enemy has decreased. The cooldown has been upped from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, but this honestly isn't too bad. Hack also now cancels stealth, which has been reworked into a passive ability. Are these bad changes to her hack? No, her gun does a lot more damage now, so we don't need the extra 20% or whatever it was damage boost that Opportunist gave anymore. The ability is now used to disable enemy abilities, which is completely fine by me. As I mentioned briefly, stealth is now a passive that triggers after 3.5 seconds of not being in combat, and the movement speed whilst in stealth has been decreased from 60% to 45%, which isn't a big deal. Stealth being a passive pairs really well with the changes to Translocator, as now when you throw Translocator, it automatically teleports you after 0.25 seconds from being thrown, or on impact if it hits something like a wall or the floor. It also reduces how long it takes for stealth to activate and can be thrown extremely fast. The cooldown for this ability to recharge has been changed from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. I honestly think this is one of the best changes to how she functions, as it means you have to think more about how you're attacking and where you want to go. It does mean that she's better / worse on some maps, but that's a thing that exists for every hero in the game. EMP has received a pretty well needed nerf, making it charge slower by 15% and making it deal way less damage, down from 40% to 30% of the enemy's health bar. Does this mean it's a bad ultimate now? Not at all. It still has the ability to completely shut down the enemy team if used well. The final change is the addition of Virus, a new ability that works a bit like Ashe's Dynamite, where it deals damage over time. 100 damage over 4 seconds on enemies that aren't hacked, and 100 damage over 2 seconds on enemies that are hacked. I think this ability is great. You have to be able to aim with it because it's a projectile, and because it's a projectile you have to think about who you're attacking and from what position. Because obviously D.Va can eat projectiles and it doesn't go through shields. However, interestingly enough, it does damage the shields over time. Now for my personal opinion. Do I, someone who mained Sombra for a few seasons, think that she's still a good DPS hero? The answer is a very obvious yes. Is she fully balanced now? Not really, no. Yes, it's much easier to kill her because of the changes to stealth and translocator, but she can still get out of fights and heal up very easily. Yes, she needs to play with her team a lot more to make sure that kills are secured. But you can see from the gameplay in the background, I can still target enemies on the flank and get back to the fight up front without any risk, but with a hell of a lot of reward. I mean, now I don't even have to be in the fight to deal damage. I can just throw a virus at someone and it will deal 100 damage whilst I position myself ready for the next big attack. Am I expecting her to get nerfed slightly in the mid-season patch? Yes, 100%. It might even come before the mid-season patch. She's still very strong, but I'll actually side with Blizzard on this one and say that it is still early days of the rework, and that it's going to take a little bit of time to get her to a point where she's completely balanced. This is definitely a step in the right direction though. I'm loving how she feels right now from both sides of the coin, playing her and playing against her. I mean, I can counter her as Lucio now because of the changes to stealth. How cool is that? My days of torment are over. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like this video as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. I want to know how you guys feel about the changes to Sombra, so leave a comment telling me whether you like the rework or not and why. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure to check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.